that City Choir and Letchworth will be there, as they have been in previous years. Although we haven't had that confirmed as yet. Okay, so you're okay with me just moving on? Yeah. Okay, so agenda item 4 is AYP Vision, Arlesey Youth Council report, and we do have Nicola here this evening. Nice to see you again.
Hi everyone. I feel like I've been away for a long time. Yeah, we've been doing stuff in Arlesey. We've been working with some children and young people, and looking at this sort of project we're doing this year. The allotment's come along really well. We've planted some spring onions and some beans. Don't know how that'll work out, but that's looking good. Project Mackenzie, our employment programme, we've been recruiting across this area for the last 3 weeks. And we're doing a construction course starting on Monday, the 13th of April, for 10 young people aged between 16 and 24. I did bring this up last year, so we will recruit. It's looking good. Our young people will be coming to us on a Monday to do some work with myself and Chris Busi in the AMTL offices, motivational work, barriers to work, all that sort of stuff. And then Tuesday to Friday for 4 weeks doing a pre-apprenticeship course where they'll be learning the trade of construction to do with painting, decorating, tiling, carpentry, plumbing, all sorts of fabulous stuff. And there are 5 jobs going to come out of that one, so fingers crossed, that'll be good. Our young people have been looking at the summer and half-term activity programmes. We didn't do as much in this Easter, although we've had a few different little sort of activities. But we've been concentrating on the next half-term and the summer. So there's a 6-week programme this summer called Activate. Again, we'll get that out for everyone to see. And we're doing a PGL trip, so we're taking young people away for a couple of days to do some activity, team building, crazy climbing walls and kayaking, all that sort of stuff. So that'd be good. We've also been looking at the keeping fit and trying to get people, children and young people out, even just walking, just doing some activity that's fun, that keeps them fit. We've done little walking programmes, circuit training and cycling, and we're going to build on that this year. Which actually brings me to a little running club that I'm starting in Shefford. Although it's Shefford, still going to talk about it over here because we want to see how it goes in Shefford before we recreate it in other areas. It's called Kids Run Free. It is a national charity. I'm going to leave some little leaflets over there. It starts on the 2nd of May, and for toddlers that can walk right up to 16-year-olds. And it's encouraging children and young people to run little distances, warm-ups and incentives of little medals and things. So they can run up 5k, half marathon, but over a period of time. So it's going to be an interesting little project. See how it goes, see what interest there is, and see if I can recreate it at this end as well. So, but obviously we want to encourage anyone to come over and take part, see what it's all about. Now.
Thank you, Nicola. Councillor, got any questions? Anyone else? Right. Short and sweet visit. You can stay on as long as you like. Public participation. I believe we have one person who wishes to speak. Okay, over to you.
Thank you. At last month's council meeting, a decision was taken to not renew the funding of the village agent this year, saving the council £5,000. I'm not speaking tonight to argue against the actual decision. I appreciate there are many good causes the council could support, and it has to decide the best use of a limited budget. However, I am concerned about the way in which the decision was taken. The proposal was not an agenda item, was put forward following discussion on another topic. There was therefore no opportunity for councillors to gather information about the effectiveness of the village agent. Councillors commented at the time that they didn't know how many people had been helped over the last year, but went ahead and took a decision anyway. The £5,000 had already been included in the council budget set some time ago and was not challenged at that time. There would have been plenty of time to carry out a more considered review rather than to throw it out as a last-minute afterthought. Changing direction at short notice causes problems not only for the agent herself, but for any residents that she may have been working with at the time. The debate, I thought, was not helped by the suggestion from Central Beds that better internet-based services could offset the need for village agents. Many of those who benefit from the services of the village agent are elderly, and I dug up a national survey by Ofcom from last year that showed only 63% of people aged 65 to 74 had internet access, and only 35% of those aged 75 plus. So internet services are not really an alternative. I tried to consider what could have helped to prevent this sort of last-minute decision-making in the future. I mean, perhaps if you had for the council an annual schedule of all the key things that the council needs to review through the year, with
Carry on.
with a timetable and allocation to a subcommittee, so that you can see these things coming ahead. I'm sure the new committee, when it comes in after the May elections, will have some other ideas. So thank you.
Okay. Anyone wish to make any response? Councillor Holloway?
Yeah, I would like to. Thank you for taking time to share your thoughts. I would push back that it wasn't a last-minute decision. I think we've been trying to gather this information for a year, maybe longer, and not been able to get answers from sources where we would have expected to have that information. So it wasn't for the want of trying. I think it was at the end of the day we decided we have to make a decision on this because the funding's either going to be made available or not. I think I'm recalling it correctly. So it wasn't something that was only debated at the last meeting. It's at least a year, I suppose, we discussed it.
We had invited.
Asking for information.
Yeah, we had two speakers here as well to speak on behalf of it, didn't we? And even after that presentation, we were left really wondering, whether it was value for money, because a large percentage of the money went in administration costs. And at the end of the day, on that night, I think we'd heard so much about it over the last 12 months that we decided to switch some of the funds towards the Good Neighbour scheme, didn't we?
Yeah.
As an alternative. I understand what you're saying, but we thought we had a good reason to make that decision.
Okay, thank you.
And Councillor Clapham?
Yes, the Good Neighbourhood scheme is very strong now. We've got a very good chairman running it and lots of people volunteering. And any of the sort of questions that people might have is all available from Age Concern. The only difference between the village agent and what the Good Neighbourhood scheme was about was perhaps, that she could tell them more details about the legal side of things. But that is all available, not just on the internet, because you can get it, from Age Concern. The agent wasn't terminated in mid-term. We let her, she's not in the middle of a case or anything, we let her go for her full term until the year was over, so she wasn't just cut off in the middle of doing something with someone.
Councillor Country?
I think you've made a very valid point bringing this up, because I'm not actually sure that we've written and notified the village agent that we will no longer be funded. Can somebody... I can't recall anyone saying that the village agent would be notified. Does anyone know?
I wrote to
GR?
yes,
The RCC.
the person who came to the presentation the last time, John something.
Yeah, that's right. And he has been notified then. Okay, that's fine. Just a query. I wasn't sure that had been done.
Okay, thank you. Okay, over to the agenda item 6, which is minutes of the previous meeting. So 6A is to receive and approve the minutes of the Town Council meeting of the 3rd of March. and to approve them as a correct record of proceedings.
Recommend approval, Mr. Chair.
All the chance to look at those.
The seconder for the...
Need a seconder for the approval of the minutes of the town council meeting of March. Everyone else okay with that?
Yep.
And 6B is to receive and approve the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 17th of March and to approve them as a correct record of proceedings.
Recommend approval, Mr. Chair, except I wasn't in on 1164.
Okay.
So I can't
Need
recommend
two other votes to
1164.
approve that.
Oh, well, I could
Councillor
get here for
Clapham,
the
yeah,
end.
you're okay
I
with
was
that.
here for that bit.
Anybody else? Councillor Frost? Yeah, you're right. That's all right. How about everybody else? All right with those?
Yeah.
Right. Any matters arising you wish to discuss from those minutes? Let's see. The pink
Sorry,
paper items we
I'm
can
sort of
discuss.
like in another world tonight. I do apologise. Right, you asked for someone to post the pink paper.
We've already done that.
Yeah, but who did that?
Well, I did it. I
Councillor-
thought
I
Yeah.
No,
thought
Councillor Clapham and Councillor Frost.
Okay, right, that's fine.
I've declared I wasn't here, so I can't do that. I did declare that.
Councillor West started to propose them and then realised he wasn't there for the completion of them, so therefore withdrew it.
Okay.
Just on the matters arising, I wonder if I could just, councillors would have received, I'm quite sure this is the right place to do it, but I'd just like to refresh councillors' memory about the application that's gone in to put a marker on Whitehorse. We decided at the, well, or rather, the committee decided that we wouldn't respond as a council. But there has been, I think, an email letter from John saying
Yes.
whether we could respond individually,
Yes.
just to encourage councils if they could, they will help.
Did everyone get that email from a member of the public who is here tonight?
Yeah, I
It's just
Just encouraging a response really from all councillors. I think
If
it's
we
been
support
supported by the
this-
clerk to everybody.
if we support the initiative to actually go back to central beds and support it.
Can you hear what I'm saying? You look a little bit.
Yeah, it's Mick, I can't hear.
Oh,
He's too far away.
Councillor
It's about the email we received regarding the White Horse.
Yes, we,
Right, okay, yes, no,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
the committee said we wouldn't respond as a council, and I'm just saying, well, if you are minded to support it, please could you kindly respond as councillors, just so make sure it gets a good crack.
Yeah.
Councillor Wenham?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's possible for council to expand on the reasons why you're not responding as a council. I've strongly supported this application and been lobbying officers to get it approved. And John, I know I've been in contact with, and a decision will be made. I think it's the 27th of April, if I got my dates right. It's 8 weeks from the time that they registered the application. Central Beds have to respond. But the local first tier authority, so the town council in this case, plays a key part in the process. And the town council's not supporting it, it does reduce the weight available in the application. So I don't know whether councillors could perhaps comment on that.
Well, I'm not precisely sure the reason why it was decided to do it the way it was. But that was a decision on the night, wasn't it?
It was a decision that the Chief of Finance took.
All right. Okay.
Actually,
Yeah. This is from the.
it should still have been on here as an agenda.
This is from the GP and Finance. minutes 419. The chairman, who is Councillor Frost on the line, read out the correspondence received from Central Bedfordshire Council regarding a nomination from Camera for the White Horse Public House to be listed as an asset of community value. Members ask the acting town clerk to forward the email to all councillors in order that they can respond individually.
That's what was agreed. But
Yeah.
I don't know why we...
So all we can do now is encourage all councillors to respond, and I'll respond as the chairman of the council. So hopefully it encourages authority. Yeah.
I don't know why. Why didn't we?
But it's a
No,
bit
I
late.
can remember the email. I do apologise.
Not the
if I
email.
haven't-
Why didn't we respond as a council?
Well, only those that were here on the night would know that.
I'm not.
I wasn't here on the night.
I do apologise and I will respond.
Okay.
Now, I do apologise, yeah.
Okay, well, it should have come back as an agenda item, it hasn't been, we messed up. The best we can do is if the chairman replies and we reply. Sorry, John.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for bringing it up anyway. I think it was Councillor Holloway that brought it up. Agenda item 8, Bedfordshire Police. This is to receive the monthly crime report from Bedfordshire Police. Unfortunately, at the last minute, they were unable to get here. So you should have a copy of the police report. Have you got that? Did we put copies at the back of the report? What this report says for members of the public is that recorded crime for March was 10 incidents. Solved crime for the same period was 3 incidents. And what they are stating is that the crime breakdown, violence against the person, on the 2nd of April, an offender was found to be in possession of a firearm with intent in Bury Mead. On the 16th of March, there were threats to kill were made as part of a long-standing dispute. On the 25th of March, there was a common assault at a care home.
That is disgraceful.
This must be the Arlesey care home. Burglary dwelling. On the 26th of March, there was an attempted burglary in St Peter's Avenue, although the offenders did not gain access to the property. There was vehicle crime between the 19th of March and the 20th of March, where one vehicle was stolen in Chase Hill Road. Theft and handling of stolen goods. Between the 6th of March and the 18th of March, unknown offenders broke into an industrial unit in Mill Lane and stole a trailer. On the 13th of March, a rabbit was reported to have been stolen from Pigs Court. On the 10th of March, a phone was stolen in the underpass below the A507 between Arlesey and Stotfold. And criminal damage between November 14 and March 15. The War Memorial on the High Street was damaged by unknown offenders. Is that to do with the nose? Is that criminal damage? Is that? Did you report that?
It was reported to me as criminal damage, so I reported it to the clerk and then reported it to the police. And I got a phone call telling me it wasn't criminal damage, it was erosion. So
Yeah,
I've already reported it to the police.
That'd be lucky for you.
Yeah, the nose of the
The soldier.
the soldier has been partly worn away, and obviously it was reported initially as criminal damage, but I think it's just natural wear.
For ages. Good God.
And then lastly,
It's on my phone,
Pictures
it's
of it
really
like
damaged.
5 years ago.
lastly, on the 4th of March, a property had its window smashed in Lyman's Road.
Mr Chair, a resident phoned me up and told me about the War Memorial being damaged, so I notified the clerk and B, I notified the police. And if it then it was independently evaluated and I was told it was soft stone that had eroded away. So I wasn't trying to upset anybody by causing distress. It was purely and simply a fact the resident had phoned me and told me that it had been damaged.
Okay. We'll have to have it repaired. Moving on then to agenda item 9. This is reports from Central Bedfordshire Council representatives, of whom we have Councillor Richard Wenham here tonight. So, Richard.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, Comparatively little's been happening at Central Beds in the last few weeks as things sort of wind down towards the election, as you would expect. But there are a number of community initiatives that I think are of interest, which I'll comment on. But firstly, if I can just pick up on the point from the gentleman in public participation about internet access. That was a comment I made at the last meeting, specifically about the Care Act coming into force, where there are certain requirements placed on Central Bedfordshire as a council to provide signposting to services, as much for carers to access as for individuals requiring the care. I would like to make it clear that we're not proposing to restrict access to any of the other means of contacting the council. So face-to-face contact, telephone contact will still be available exactly as they've been before. It's just that a lot of people are finding it more convenient to be able to contact the council on the internet because it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I would like to reassure you about that. And obviously the very good work being done by the sort of village neighbourhood schemes that have been set up, including the one in Arlesey, and they will have access to all that information within Central Bedfordshire to make that available to residents. So I think other items, if I could just pick up on item 3N, which was the press release in your pack about the Cheering Volunteering Awards. This is a scheme this year which is being run by the council to really try and give recognition to many of the sort of thousands of people in Central Bedfordshire that volunteer for items. And there's planned to be a celebration awards event on Tuesday the 2nd of June at the Grove Theatre in Dunstable. And the council is looking for a number of nominations. There are 6 particular categories, but at least 4 of those I think will be directly relevant to some of the very good community projects that have been carried out in Arlesey this year, and obviously the Arlesey Remembers one comes to the fore as one of the key projects, but also there have been others. So there's an online nomination form that can be filled in, or you can email nominations to an address here. And shortlisted nominees will be invited by post or email to the awards ceremony, which is also free for members of the public to attend. So I'll send this to the clerk tomorrow, so it can be available. I don't know if it's possible to put it on the website as well to get maximum coverage, because I do think there will be some very worthy recipients in the Arlesey community, and this is just exactly what this is aimed at. You'll be pleased to hear that the Council Code of Conduct Complaints Seminar was held on the 19th of March at Priory House. I don't know if anyone from Arlesey attended, but it is planned to.
Our acting clerk attended.
Oh, very good. So I hope you found it interesting. And I believe you would have been told that it's planned to run a similar event for new councillors after May 7th. So
she thinks you might need the experience of the court.
I've talked about the Care Act already. There's something in here, I don't know whether it's relevant to Arlesey, but it's a campaign to find the UK's lost playing fields. And I hadn't realised this, but apparently between 1927 and 1935, the Carnegie UK Trust gave grants equivalent to £10 million today to create 900 playing fields across the UK. And there's a group here that's trying to identify where all these 900 fields are. And if you happen to have one in the area, then there's a potential development prize of £5,000 on offer. I have no idea whether this is relevant to this area or not.
We used to have another playing field at the bottom of the hill, along the high street, across the road from Lewis's Dairy, behind the houses there that are there now. It's part where they're earmarked for the western side development. There used to be a playing field along there, but that's long since been taken out and run away with.
Anyway, this will be on this note that I'll send to you, circulated to councillors. The last point, which is directly relevant to planning when it comes before you, is that the sustainable drainage policy is now statutory planning guidance from the 6th of April. So that becomes a material concern in terms of looking at planning applications. Doubtless the council will want to make itself aware of that, and also potentially as part of the neighbourhood planning activity as well. Last point, advance notification. I've been told that Central Bed's officers are trying to arrange a further meeting of the stakeholder group associated with the master plan, provisionally for the 20th of May. So that will be applicable to representatives of the council.
How does that work? When's our next meeting? Is it before the 20th of May?
19th of May.
Fair enough. Good. Handle it.
There's committee meetings in 2 weeks, but then the next full town council meeting will be the 19th of May. Thank you, Councillor Wenham.
Thank you.
Any councillors wish to question Councillor Wenham on any item he's discussed? No? Fine. Thank you for that. Agenda item 11. Oh, sorry, 10 is members to receive school and nursery government reports. Do we have any of those? All right.
Mark Rainbow was not here.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Who's in?
It's me. Still doing it.
You've not got one for Gothic Mead? Mark at Gothic Mead. The nursery, isn't it?
It's a nursery and
Well, I suppose in light of the fact that we're already in April, a decision on that can be made in May, can't it?
When I left the
Okay.
council, they created a new government.
Agenda item 11 then is finance, the income and expenditure for February, which is month 11. You should have a copy of that.
Recommend approval, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Frost, have you got a report?
The GP and Finance, I think it was at GP and Finance, I was asked to go into the office and check the checkbooks and the invoices and the bank statements. So the checkbooks dated from the 28th of the 4th, 2014 to the 20th of the 3rd, 2015. They were all signed by 2 councillors and a clerk. The invoices from April 2014 to June 2014 were only signed by the clerk, and they should have been signed by councillors and clerk. The invoices in July onwards were signed by the councillors and by the clerk. Bank statements tallied with the bank reconciliation, so everything tallied with the bank statements, so everything was okay.
Right. Can we have a proposal and seconder for that?
I'd like to propose
Month 11?
I'd like to propose
Councillor
number
West. Anyone second? Councillor White. And then 11B is petty cash for January 15. And you mean February 15, do you? Month 11.
Mine says February. I'm sorry.
That's a misprint. I apologise for that.
I'd like to recommend approval, Mr. Chair.
Approve and second for that? Yep. Okay. Councillor Horton. Okay, then we move on to 11C, which is street lighting electricity. To consider correspondence received from E.ON regarding the supply of street lighting electricity. The clerk has some information for you on this and will explain why you have a copy of this letter.
As you can see, the actual unit price has gone up by nearly 3 pence.